Good morning. It's only a minute late. 2 minutes late. Okay. I'll give you the rundown. We're still using blocks, but this class we're focusing still on that activation, trying to keep all of our muscles in order. We're really wanting to not focus on trying to strain out our wrists, putting all of our weight there. If at any point you are feeling sore in any area, it's 10 times better for you to take a break rather than keep trying to push through, because at that point you're probably activating the wrong muscles and then you're going to feel sore tomorrow and then your joints are going to be all stiff. So that's mainly our focus today, but fun surprise that I already kind of revealed, but for everybody online, we will be doing a lot of hips today. You will realize that you have more than just one hip muscle and your hip is not just a joint. It's so fun. It really is so fun. We're again going to be using those blocks. This is going to be a block focused class. However, every movement that we have with the blocks, you can do a modification without them. So if you don't have any blocks at home, you don't need them, or you can just grab anything around you and use that as a block substitute. But for the most part, that's kind of all we have today. If you are feeling sore, remember, take those modifications or ask me for modification. I'm more than willing to help. Or after class, feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started in that child's pose as usual. Knees wide on the mat if you're looking for more of a hip stretch. Walking your hands further forward. Taking those deep breaths. This is our time to set our intentions for today's class. Bring awareness into all four corners of your body. Figuring out which muscles are sore, which muscles are tense, where are you relaxed. Try wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, feeling your forearms pressed into the mat. Remembering to take those deep breaths here. Option to box breathe, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold and repeat. Slowly trying to walk your fingers a little bit further. Feeling a deeper stretch through your upper back. If you'd like to add a bit of flow, feel free to rock side to side, waking up those hips just a little bit more. Go ahead and take one more big deep breath in. And on that exhale, we're going to lift up gently, grabbing onto one of those blocks. This stretch is going to seem kind of funny, but I promise it does its job. Go ahead and stack one block in front of you. If you don't have a block, feel free to just use your elbows. You're going to bring your elbows in front of you, keeping that forehead on that block, pressing in. Bring your fingertips to your temples, trying to feel a nice stretch through your back. From here, we're really going to focus on that breathing, straightening out our shoulders, really using your abdominals for your breath here. If your hips start to get sore, feel free to walk your knees in together. You don't need to keep them too spread out. Try to take 2 more box breaths here. Really trying to sink your back in. One more big deep breath in. And on that exhale, we're going to push our forehead into that block, or feel free to bring your head all the way down to the ground. We're just going to lift our elbows up, almost like we're a bird flying. If you don't have a block and you're at home, go ahead and just put your head on the ground and lift your arms from here. Doing this with your own breath. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. It's again sort of like those pencil exercises where we're pretending there's a pencil in between our shoulder blades and we're trying to squeeze it. Taking big, deep breaths. Using that exhale to power your arms up. Go ahead and do this 2 more times. Really squeezing your back here. Last one. Squeeze as tight as you can. And exhale, we're going to bring our palms back to the floor, coming up into that tabletop position. From here, we're just doing a little bit of rocking to warm up your spine. So go ahead and rock forward. Exhale, rock back into that child's pose. Your head should meet your block. Rock forward. Waking up those shoulders. Rock back, head meets block. If your head's not meeting your block, walking your hands a little bit forward might help. This should be a nice stretch for your hips as well. Go ahead and do this 2 more times. Engaging your core, lifting through your abdominals. Last one. Coming up, back to tabletop. Go ahead and move your block out of the way. We're just going to end in those cat-cows. Deep breath in, lifting your chest up to the sky. Exhale, lifting through your belly button, pulling yourself all the way up, finding a deep arch through your spine. Inhale, chest to sky. Slowly adding a bit more mobility every breath. Deepening the stretch. Last one. Deep breath in. Exhale, coming back up to neutral spine. Go ahead and put your block underneath your right hand. We're going to do a little push-ups here. So just pushing through your right arm, bringing your left hand even with the block, and lowering back down. Exhale, pushing up. Inhale, lowering down. You should feel this in your right tricep and your shoulder. For 2 more. Still engaging that core, keeping a neutral spine. After you've lifted that left hand, go ahead and open your chest up to the wall parallel to you, and then lower. Push up, lift your hand, trying to deepen that mobility through your upper spine, and lower. If you're focusing more on that stretch, go ahead and hold in the chest opening position. Trying to deepen your stretch through that exhale. Reaching for length through your fingertips on your inhale. Go ahead and do this 2 more times. And last one, push up. Trying to stretch as deep as you can while still staying comfortable. Exhale, lower. Go ahead and move your block to your left hand now. Still going to do those push-ups. Go ahead and put your left hand on that block. Push up through your right just until it's even to your left hand. And then push back down. Still feeling that activation through your left shoulder and your left tricep. Staying lifted through your core. Pelvic floor should be up and in. Using that breath for 2 more. Last one. Go ahead and lift your right arm all the way up. Lowering back down. Pushing up. Reach with your right hand. Length through your fingertips. Feeling mobility through your shoulder. Push up. Lift and lower. We're about 3 more. Still working on trying to increase that range of motion through your upper back. Length on every inhale, deepening that stretch through every exhale. Take as much time as you need. Last one, reaching all the way up, really trying to deepen that stretch here. Take one big deep breath, finding length through those fingertips. Exhale, lowering all the way back down. Go ahead and hinge back at those hips, stepping your left foot to the outside of that block or the outside of your mat. Trying to keep that right knee in the center. From here, we're just going to try to lift that left leg. If you're a pro, feel free to lift that left leg all the way up onto that block, stretching your hips out. This is pretty difficult, but it is a great movement to strengthen your hips. Pushing through your glutes, still staying activated through your core. Slow and in control. The slower you do it, the more intense this movement will be. For 2 more. And last one. All the way back down. Placing your right hand on the mat, go ahead and just push your knee to the outside. Feeling a deep stretch through your hips here. Falling forward if you're looking to increase that intensity. Holding here for one more big deep breath. On your next exhale, we're going to scoot that block to the front of the mat, walking our foot to the inside. If you're here last week, we're going to do a similar lunge series to last time, but we're going to start all the way at grabbing the outside of that block, lifting through our core, lifting the block overhead, pushing up through that back foot, coming into a high lunge. Exhale, lowering down. Bring your block back to the ground, letting it go, grabbing the block, using your core to lift you up and your hips, reaching the block overhead, pushing off through that left glute and your right leg, coming all the way back down. If you're experiencing any difficulty with this movement or have any knee pain, feel free to take that other block and just put it underneath your right knee. Deep breath in. Doing this at a pace that's comfortable for you. Just making sure you're activating all of your muscle groups right now. Still trying to keep that knee stacked over our ankle. One more. Lifting through that core, raising your arms overhead, pushing up. Everybody's favorites. We're going to head into those pulses, lowering down for 1, 2, 3, 4. Engaging that left glute. 5, 6. Pushing all the way back up, stepping that left foot back. Go ahead and set your block down. From here, coming all the way to standing, reaching your fingertips all the way up to the ceiling, looking for length, taking those little side bends if that feels comfortable. As you exhale, bring your hands down to prayer. Feel free to lift that left leg up, staying in tree pose or increasing intensity, wrapping that leg all the way around, finding your standing figure 4. One more deep breath in. Exhale, coming all the way back up to standing. If you have your block by you, feel free to lift that up to our next leg circuit, lifting it all the way up to the sky, stepping that left leg back, bringing your knee to that block, focusing on balance through all four corners of your right foot, still engaging that right glute. Coming back to that lunge, bringing the block to your knee. Finding power all the way from the ground to your right glute. Only two more. Maintaining control. Last one. Sending that left foot all the way back out into your warrior three. If you have trouble with balance here, using those blocks can also help as well. It's like a little crutch. Deep breath in. And exhale, we're going to step that left foot all the way in front, coming back into that lunge. Lowering all the way down to the ground. Go ahead and kick your right foot to the side. We're just going to come down all the way to our glute. Feel free to bring one block in front of you, or you can do this without a block as well. I'm going to do mine like that. You're going to lift your left foot over top of that block, lowering down, lifting it up, bringing it to the outside. Continuing to do these arches, engaging through that hip flexor. If you'd like to increase the intensity, doing this without any hands. For one more. On your next arc, feel free to leave that foot on top. We're going to go into some pulses, so bending your knee up, placing it back down, bending that knee, placing the heel of your foot back down on that block. Might be burning your quads a little bit too. It's okay. One more time, bending that knee, bringing that leg all the way back down. Feel free to kick that block out of the way. We're going to bring both of our legs, knees to the ceiling, feet parallel to your glutes, bringing your arms behind you. We're just going to stretch out that hip. So go ahead and point both knees to your left, bringing them back up to center. Point both knees to your right, feeling a stretch through that hip. Slow and in control, trying to deepen that stretch every time. Feel free to stay if one hip is more tight than the other. Might be your left hip because that's the hip that we just worked out. Doing this 2 more times. And last one. Really trying to deepen that stretch here. Exhale, bring your knees back up. We're going to transition into a tabletop position. If you liked them last week, you're going to love them this week. Go ahead and put one block under your right hand, another block under your left hand, block under your right leg. You're gonna head straight into those bird dogs. Go ahead and lift your right arm up. Kick your left leg back. If you have trouble with balance here, feel free to not use any blocks at all. But you're just gonna lower. We're not gonna crunch, we're just gonna lower. Engaging that left glute, lifting through your right shoulder. Taking those deep breaths. Slow and in control, focusing on balance, staying lifted through your core. This movement can be very difficult, so just do this at your own pace. Keeping a little bend through your elbows so you're not putting all your pressure on your wrists. One more deep breath in. Last one, staying lifted, twisting that block so it's directly in front of you. You can put both hands on it now. Everyone's favorite. We're just gonna do arcs. If you're a pro, you can do windshields. We're just trying to exercise that glute right now. If you forgot what windshields are, that's just keeping your leg lifted the entire time. It'll exercise a different part of your hip, but either way, you're still getting a good hip workout in. It also puts more focus on your core, so let's just make sure we're staying lifted through that core. Strong and in control. One more deep breath in. Last one. Let's go straight into those pulses, giving little baby lifts, making sure we're engaging through that left glute. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Lowering that leg all the way down. We're going to kick those blocks to the side. If you thought we were done, we're not. Go ahead and keep your heels of your palm directly under your shoulders here, bending your elbows just slightly, kicking that left leg back, coming straight into those Pilates push-ups, slowly lowering down, and exhale, pushing back up. Inhale, lower, using those triceps. Exhale, pushing up. Remembering to breathe, using your breath for your strength. Only have 2 more. Keeping that back and that core engaged. Last one. Pushing all the way up, sending your leg back down. I'm going to take a nice break. Pushing back, finding that child's pose. Holding here for one more solid breath. Exhale, coming back up into that tabletop position. Moving your block to the center of your mat. We're going to hinge a little bit. Doing the same thing for the right leg now, coming all the way back up. Finding that lunge. When you're ready, we're going to go back into those marches or just those single leg lifts. Engaging that left glute. Staying balanced through your core. Strengthening that right hip now. Slow and in control. We're going to take those deep breaths. For 2 more. Last one. Lowering your leg all the way down. Feel free to put that left hand on the ground. We're just going to push our right leg out. Trying to sink our hips further down. Remembering to take those deep breaths. And when you're ready, we're going to push ourselves back up, walking our knee to the inside of our mat. Again, with that lunge series, feel free to use the block. And if you don't, that's okay. I won't be offended. But we're just going to pick that block up, hinging at the hips, lifting through your core, and pushing up through that right glute. Exhale, lower. Put that block down. Again, if you feel any pain in your knee or have any difficulty with this stretch, feel free to put that other block under your left knee. Most importantly, just remembering to breathe. Hinging at the hips, lifting through your core, finding strength through your shoulders, pushing up through that right glute. This is a multi-step movement. It's actually a hard compound workout. Just don't worry if you don't get it right away or if you feel sore at all. Remembering to take those breaks. For 2 more. Really making that right glute burn. Last one, standing all the way up. Go ahead and step that right foot back, coming all the way to standing, letting that block go. Finding length through your fingertips, stretching to both sides. Deep breath in. Exhale, lowering your hands down to prayer. Lifting that right leg up, coming into tree pose. Feel free to stay here if this is where you're comfortable, or if you'd like to increase intensity, wrapping that right leg around, falling all the way down to your standing figure 4. Pushing through all 4 corners of your left foot. Deep breath in. Exhale, coming all the way back up to standing. Go ahead and kick that right foot out. Falling into our warrior 3. Option to use those blocks for better stability. You don't need both. You can also use just one. Deep breath in. One more deep breath. Exhale, lowering that right leg down, lifting that block up. We're going to do those knee drives, bringing that right knee to that block, sending it back out again. You should feel braced through your core here. A little bit of a burn through your left leg. Taking breaks if needed. For 2 more. The last one, stepping into that lunge. Bringing that leg all the way down. Here. Just gonna push that leg back one more time. Coming down all the way to our glutes. Feel free to use that block. You can also do it without that block. We're gonna go right back into those single leg lifts. Finding that arc, lifting with your right hip now. Feel free to push through the palms of your hand behind you. If you'd like to increase intensity, doing it with no hands. Our goal isn't to slouch over though. You want to stay lifted through that chest the entire time. Slow and in control. For 2 more. Last one. Go ahead and bring your foot all the way on top of that block. We're staying lifted. Feel free to bring your hands behind you. We're just going to do those knee bends again. Really lifting through those hips, keeping your chest high and proud. For 2 more. Last one. And bringing your feet all the way to the ground. Feel free to move that block out of the way. You're going to lift your knees up, keeping the heels of your feet parallel to your glutes. Bringing your hands behind you. We're going to send both knees to the left. It's the same stretch. Now your right hip might be feeling it a little more. Remembering to breathe. If you feel like one hip's a little more sore than the other, feel free to stay in that position for a little bit longer. Stretching at your own comfort level. For 2 more. And last one. We're now going to do bird dogs for the other side. This time, we're going to have that block under our right hand and a block under our left knee. Finally figured it out, guys. We're just going to lift that right leg up, sending this left arm forward, finding length through your fingertips and your toes. And then we're going to bring them back down. If you're feeling like a pro, feel free to crunch here. That does add more of a stability component. If that's too much for you, feel free to just stay focused on lifting that right glute and keeping active through your core, using that left shoulder. Finding length through both fingertips and toes, using that breath. For 2 more. Lift, lower, lift, and lowering all the way back down. Bringing both hands either on the block or on the ground, up to you. Either taking those arcs, sending that right leg straight back. Option to increase intensity, doing those windmills. Windshields, not windmills. Whichever you decide on, just make sure you're still staying lifted through that core, keeping your pelvic floor up and in. Engaging that right glute, getting a little bit of a muscle activation here, and a hip mobility stretch. For 2 more. Last one. And we're going to pulse it out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, lowering all the way back down. Go ahead and kick those blocks to the side or throw them if you're really angry. We're going to go straight into those Pilates push-ups one more time, lifting that right leg up and then slowly lowering all the way down till your nose is almost touching the mat. Pushing up through your triceps. Inhale, lower. Exhale, push up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, push up. For 2 more. Last one. Lower and push up. Bring that leg all the way back down. Coming back into a well-deserved child's pose. Holding here for 1 deep breath in. On that next exhale, you're going to push yourself all the way back up. Feel free to cross your legs behind you so we come all the way down, sitting on our glutes. Bring our legs in front of us. We're not done. Slowly lowering down, finding that boat pose, Keeping one foot on the ground, lifting up your right leg. We're going to come in for a little bit of a crunch action, lowering down and pushing up. If you find any difficulty with this stretch here, just feel free to put your hands behind you. Still trying to activate that core, staying lifted through your chest. For 2 more. Last one. Slowly lowering that leg down. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. Lower and crunch. Staying lifted through that chest. Try not to hollow out that lower back. For 2 more. Last one. Lowering that foot all the way down. Going all the way onto your back. Now we're done. Go ahead and lift that right leg up. Kick it over top of your left. Grab onto that back hamstring or left shin. Feel free to rock side to side if that feels comfortable. When you're ready, kicking those hands out to either side of your body, letting your hips drop to the left. Feeling a nice stretch through your back. Keeping both shoulders firmly planted on the ground. Deep breath in. When you're ready, you're going to meet back in center. Kicking up that left leg now, wrapping it over your right, grabbing onto your right hamstring or your right shin. Feel free to rock side to side here. Holding here for one more big, deep breath in. And as you exhale, we're going to send both hands to either side of your body, letting your hips slowly drop to the right, keeping our shoulders planted on the ground. Taking another deep breath, we're going to rise back up into center. Dropping your feet, bringing the soles of your feet together, letting your knees fall to either side of your body. Lifting one hand, bringing it over your heart, the other hand over your stomach. We're going to meet here for our last few breaths of class today. Taking this time to set our intentions for the rest of today. Doing a full body scan, bringing awareness to all 4 corners of your body. You can try wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Feel the back of your head pressed into the mat. Try noticing if any muscles feel sore, if any muscles feel relaxed, tense. The rise and fall of your chest. You might try box breathing here. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold and repeat. Slowly allowing yourself to sink further and further into the floor. That brings us to the end of today's class. Feel free to stay and stretch if that feels good to you. One note, next week Well, this is our last week of class, so next week we will have a break period from classes, so we will not have a live class, but the link to register is open on our website. I will also be sending out an email to everybody who has registered in the past. With that being said, no class next week, but the week after that we will start up again. Look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Thank you so much.